Hello, hello, hello. It's Anne Lewis, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, based on the Sunshine Coast here in Queensland, Australia. I'm going to throw you down to my desk so you can have a bit of a look at the projects, just whilst I go through the introduction. I teach card making and scrapbooking and love sharing my passion with you. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this step-by-step video, I will be sharing some of my favourite techniques, tips and tricks to make your card making even more enjoyable. Each of the products featured tonight are available in my online store, but I've deliberately selected some of the retiring products that go on sale on the 9th of April. So you could just get a little reminder. There are some fabulous sales starting as we get to the products from the annual and the mini catalogue all retiring at the end of April. So they're going on sale, which is pretty special, and it's a fabulous sale because I think this is probably the best retirement sale that I've seen since I got there at Stamping Up, or maybe I think it is. So many products are 50% off, including designer series papers, etc. Now, what makes tonight's projects, and I'll walk you through them in a second, is that you can use your own cardstock, pattern paper, stamp sets and inks from your stash, which is how I try and select my projects. Again tonight, tomorrow, sometime in the next few days, righto, you get the drift. I will do a random draw, so someone who leaves a comment will receive a card from me in the mail. More comments, more chances. It seems that everybody is enjoying getting these cards. Let me know where you're watching from and what you are enjoying. Hadio. Now, I see a few people have dropped in. Hi Sharon, hi Glenda, hi Jennifer from Western Australia, the other side of the country. Now, what I am doing tonight is what you would call a square column fold card. And I'll put those out of the way for the moment. I'll walk you through each of them before I get started. So as you can see, it's got like a box, yep. So it actually stands up really well. There's so many things that you can do with this fold and how to decorate it. So I'm going to show you how I've done this one. And this one you can see I've just used designer series paper. So I'll walk really quickly through that one. And this is probably the stepped up version, featuring the Earthen Textures stamp set. It's the same card, but I've shown that you can use coloured cardstock and you can basically use any of your favourite techniques. And that's why I like this fold. Righty, I'm going to bring this back here. Hi Glenda, hi Madeline. Thanks Sharon. I'm glad you are liking these cards. Now I have stuck my grid paper down whilst I do the first few cards, and not always do I do this, but I'm going to actually show you the cutout, and I'm going to be going off memory. Oh, I hate that, mainly because I forgot to print up the instructions, but I do have the instructions here. So before we get started, I'm going to add the measurements so that you can screen save. I'll do, oh, that's not what I want. I want this one. Let's see how we go. Yeah. So if you wish to copy the screen, there you go. Hi, Chrissy. Hi-dio. So have you all got that? I probably should, if only I could print this up now, which I can't, but that's okay. So I'm going to be cutting, this is thick basic white cardstock. I'm cutting it 5.5 inches lengthways. You only get one card per A4 cardstock in this. I'm just getting rid of some of the stuff. I'll try and bring this back so you can see what the card is. Oh, you're not. I haven't shifted you yet. Back. Here we go. Right. So I've already cut this at 5 1/2, and then I'm bringing this over to 10 1/8. Now I got this card design from a demonstrator, Rachel Tessman, fabulous demonstrator. Oh, I'm going to have to, just while I score this, I'm going to have to put the measurements up, back again, so I can actually read them. I nearly know them, but I don't want to make a mistake. So I'm going to pop this up. Now I will be using I'll bring this down just a little bit. I'm using my, this has popped up, my scoring blade, which is the light grey one. Whilst I do this, I'll just pop up the measurements again so I can see them. Go. Okay, so I am scoring this at 4 1/4. Five 3/4, 7 1/4. As soon as I get this done, I'll be right. 7 3/4. Oops, 7 1/4, not 7 3/4, 7 1/4, and 8 3/4. I'll drop you back down if I can work out how. Right out. And we'll just come back to here. Right out. So this is the 8 3/4 one. Now I can get rid of the paper trimmer, and I'm hoping you may not be able to see this, but I will fold them in. Just put a gentle fold on these. Grab my bone folder. I'm not trying to do these really crisp at the moment. I'm just so that you can see them. Okay, so there we go. Now, the way it works is this is going to fold over like that. But before we do that, there's a little bit of work I want to do. Now, this is the surface that we're working on tonight. So this is the featured surface, I could say. So it is 2 out. So it's this one here. Now, because I made any number of mistakes before when I was doing my samples, I probably repeated this about 4 times because I kept stamping on this one rather than this one. And I'll just double check it again. Yep, that's it. So I'm going to put a little mark on there, and you might find that useful. And I'm going to be using the Dainty Delight. I've got a few stamps here. The Dainty Delight stamp set, which is on page 22 of the 2023-24 annual catalogue. This stamp set goes on 50% off from the 9th of April. So it was a really good stamp set to use tonight. I've got my box out again. So now, no, not again. I put black on it. I'm going to have to fix that. I've touched that black ink pad again. Remember last week? I cleaned it all up today so that wouldn't happen. But I think it might have just a little bit too much ink on it. So I'm just going to grab some low-tack tape that I've already used, and I'm putting it just to the left of, I'm just looking at my hands, making sure I don't put it anywhere else, just to the left of the score line. Now I'm putting it to the left, not right on it, because when you have a little jump down, no matter how thin it is, it will leave a little bit. it will leave a little space, and I'll explain what happens when you do that, because I did that on the for a different reason on the third card. You know how I found my masking tape the other day? Lost it again. It's sitting somewhere in my craft room. It was a bit busy last week because I ended up down it on the stage. So this just protects those other panels because I only want to stamp in here. So let's get going. This is my fairly simple one. It does have a couple of techniques, and you could just leave this like it is. Now I'll bring back my card. So this is what we're doing. So I'm going to have, and I'm going to grab that. I've already stamped this and die cut it just to save a little bit of time. So I've got this, so I know that that's going to sit there. So I want my flowers to sit up here. So let's go. Now I want this is why I re-inked it. I want this to have plenty of ink on it because I want it to be nice, crisp and black. So I'm taking this right up to the top of my cardstock, and then I'm going to walk my fingers around it. This is a big stamp, so I do have to pay a bit of attention. I don't want to miss any. And there we go. Now, can pull that out now. Pull that off. Probably going to use that again later. I use all my tacky paper, as you can see. So there it is there. Then this is going to pop in here. But before I do that, it's looking a little plain. Got a rubber here to take that little mark out. I've got it right now. I usually have an ink booger issue with black boogers and starry sky. I agree. The intense colours are the ones that you always have the most trouble with. Now I'm going to grab just some blends, and you're going to see how quick this is. You could colour this even with marking with our Stampin' Right markers, and a couple of these I'm actually going to do with markers. You're going to see me, you know I'm no artist, you're going to see how quick this is. I always go in the direction of the image. I'm going fast, and when you do it like this, it doesn't matter if you leave a little bit of white, because it just adds a little bit more texture, makes them a little bit more interesting. I think I've only got 4 flowers in this colour, so I've just used Pretty Peacock in the light, and I'm just going to go back with some really quick bits of highlighting. You can see I do it quick. I just go back over just to blend them a bit. And they come out so nice. And you'll see how good these look when I get to the very end. So the next thing I'm going to be using is Calypso Coral. Just on all these. And on these small ones, I just do dots. It's quicker, easier, and it doesn't take. And then I've got one other colour, and this is what I mean. I'm going to be using Moody Mauve. Don't have a Moody Mauve blender, stamping blend, so I'm going to be using this. And again, these are such small little flowers that just making sure there's no others. Oh, here they are. Here there were a couple more. So this is a really quick, you can see, and it's how it looks at the very end. So I'm going to grab some Lost Lagoon in the light. I'm just going to do the really quickly, do the leaves. What happens when you are doing, you're watching comments, you're talking, you're thinking ahead. I think I've got them all. Oh no, a whole lot I was missing. Now I'm not even going to blend those. Now that makes it pop a bit. And when I add, it still doesn't look very nice. But when I add, I feel like I've got ink still all over me. I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. So I'll just die cut this. There's dies that go with, this comes from Earthen Textures. And I'm using it on the third card. Oops. I just want to put this about there. I don't know. Now it doesn't look very special at the moment, but let's add the happiest of birthdays on whilst I'm here. And I'm going to put this flat. I'm not reading your comments. Nice colours for the flowers. Hi Marianne, how are you? I'll put this here. And sometimes I've got to move it up and down to decide where I think it looks the best. Now at this stage, this card does not look very, very smick. And we'll just hide that because you fellas can't see that, can you? So now, oh, that wasn't dry. I'll put that there. Right. So there's a couple of things I've got to do here. While I let that dry, I've got two pieces, well, I've got two pieces of the thick, basic white thick cardstock, and these are 1 3/8 by 5 3/8. And I've got two of those, and I have this piece which is only 1 1/8 wide. So this piece I'm going to put down here. Now I've actually used the Stripes and Splatters embossing folder, and this one is also retiring. Now quite a few of the embossing folders are retiring at 30 to 50% off, so it's a pretty good deal. Now sometime in the next couple of days I'm going to do a video where I do a walkthrough of where your best bargains are. Now they don't come on sale till the 9th, so we've got a little while to go, but some of them might sell out before then. So this is my thin strip, so I just put it on the very edge here, just adds that little bit of texture, steps it up. Now the secret to this is I want this to sit around there, so I'm going to fold it over like this. So I've got two panels here, fold it flat, glue this panel here. Always makes me nervous when I do this. So I'm treating it like a box. You know how you line up a box? I know. So keep it nice and flat, and I'm going to just fold that over, grab my bone folder. There's that little mark that I'm trying to hide. Is the ink blocker on the back? It is. But now I'm going to let that dry a little bit. That doesn't take long, but it will take a little longer than that. Now I always like to share how I would fix things. Now on this card, I can actually write something nice to the receiver of this, but I would actually do it on the back. So now, because I'm going to do it on the back, I would grab another piece of paper or cardstock and hide that so nobody would know that it wasn't perfect. Now, what I should have done is I'm going to add these two embossed pieces. I'm hoping yes, you can see that easily on the inside here and on the outside there. Only because I like a little bit of embossing. I don't do plain really well. Make sure that on all your embossing, that if you've got more than one panel, that they are all on the right side, whatever you decide is the right side, because everybody likes these a little different. Whoa, I should have put this on before I did when I first made it. So I've got that. So much easier to do it first. I'm just trying to stick that down. Then this one. Now I can't work out which one matches. That one matches. A blind man would be happy to see the difference in these, but not all of them does it. Some of them are very obvious. So there we go. So there's my card. Now I've just got a little bit more. You can't just stop there. So out of the Dainty Delight, I'm using this little tiny piece here. It's so cute. And from I'm just saying, Hello Ladybird, it had my friend. So happiest of birthdays, my friend. Now, I don't want to line that up, but I want to put this on this bottom one first. Now, I can shift that over. What's so good about this fold, and I'll show you before I forget, is it goes in the envelope like that, so it actually folds down. So now I'm going to grab my black inks, which I've obviously thrown out of the way because I was a little unhappy with it. Black ink has warped. Oh, here it is. I'm just putting this at the bottom to tie it in. And I lined it up. I'll do the same with my friend. Let's get it up the right way. I lined it up with the sentiment so you could see that it was going to be happiest birthdays, my friend. Now, I could have done that in Pretty Peacock, which is what I did the first one in. Now I just add some really simple colour here. So don't get too carried away. And I'm grabbing some Pretty Peacock for the flowers. And to be honest, there is no right or wrong for this. But it just adds that little bit of decoration that makes it look pretty special. So card finished. So I'll put it up a little closer so you can see how it works. So Madeline likes the embossing. I do too. It just, I don't know, it makes it look more sophisticated. And this is this card could be for Mother's Day. I made it for birthdays because that's what I use most of. But it could be for Mother's Day, could be for Easter. There's so many, it's such a flexible stamp set here. So I'm going to pack up that, put my cards out of the way. So there's you go. And obviously I'll fix that later. Now I'm going to just walk through this. You don't need to know how to make this. This is pretty simple. Exactly the same technique, but this time I did it with a quick and easy project. I didn't have to emboss anything. I just used Designer Series paper So I used, I think it's called Perennial, I should look. I think it's Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper, which is 50% off on the sale that starts on the 9th. And I added a little bit of bling, which the bling I used was this, which is the Tinsel Gems 3-pack, which I really, really like, to be honest. I just added a stamp from, I don't know. I can't even remember the stamp set, and this is from the Painted Lavender stamp set. So really quick, I've used the Everyday Details die because I love it. You keep seeing it come up every week. And I've used the Stylish Shapes for the layering there. So that's it. I've added some butterflies, which also comes from the Painted Lavender stamp set. Easy as. But I wanted to show that you can use Designer Series paper. It does not have to be hard. However, I then also decided to stamp it up a little bit, and we did this one. Now, to be honest, this wasn't what I set out designing. I've got to grab my project here. Make a bit of room. Oops. Right. So I wanted to use a die to show you a different way, bring it down, show you a different way of using, like that you could use this with dies as well. And of course you can. But the dies I selected were the Earthen Textures one, and they just didn't work with this design. It was just a little too narrow. So I changed it up and I did it a little different. Now, just so I can remind you, I'm going to grab the cardstock. Even though I haven't used thick cardstock on this one, it will still stay upright. It's pretty good. Actually, I've got little, knock those edges around a little bit. So let's use this side. So I'm cutting it at 5.5 inches, and I'm pulling out the extender, turning it around, and I'm scoring at, I'm gonna have to check them, you know that, 4.25. I'm going to guess the next one is 5.75, but I'm going to have to bring the measurements back up. What does it say? 4.25, 5.75. I was pretty good with my measurements. 5.75, 7.25, and then 8.75. Just go back. Let's go back to the craft desk, and 8.75. This is so that you can see somewhere I've gone wrong here. I didn't cut it at 10 1/8. So we'll cut that off. So it's 5.5 by 10 1/8 inches. I've included the centimetres this time. So again, I'm going to grab my bone folder, fold it, just fold it so I get the panel that I'm working on right. Now this is always 1/8 of an inch less, and that's why I do that fancy fold, which I'll show you again. So it's going to sit like that. Let's get it on the right side. This is my panel that I'm working on. I'll put a big cross on this because I'm going to have a panel that goes over it. Yeah, so you probably can't see that. I'm going to grab a piece of basic white cardstock. I'm going to pick up my grid paper and go to my glass mat. Whoops. just so I can do some blending. I'll slide down. Got my blender pens here. I've got to grab my ink pads. I'll clean up a few things here. Right. So I want to work on my glass mat because I'm going to be doing some blending. I'm using Cherry Cobbler, Cajun Craze, Boho Blue, and Daffodil Delight. So I'll bring my card back so you get a bit of an idea of how I do this. I've only got a chamois this time. I should, wait a minute, I'll grab my glass cleaning cloth. That will work a lot better. And I want a second one of those, wholly and solely, because I've gone from light to dark and I can't go back to light. So my colours are Boho Blue, Misty Moonlight, Real Red, Cherry Cobbler, Cajun Craze, and Daffodil Delight. So let's get going. I'm going to do the Boho Blue first. So let's pull out some Boho Blue. I'll have a few ink pads open. I'm going to put that out of the way. I did have another design going on this card until I played with some water to get a different technique background and went all over the first panel. So I started from scratch again and decided to change it up. Now, I don't want lines. I want it on a bit of an angle, and my piece here is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Now, the width doesn't matter that much. It depends on what you do with your panels. I only use 2 panels, but you might want to use more. So I'm going off. I spread it out like this so that I don't get those really ugly lines. And I didn't actually mean to use the Boho Blue at the top, but I did. So pick up some more of that colour, come down on it. Now I always say don't press too hard, which on lives I always am concentrating on a little bit too much. Now I do my backgrounds like I do most things in life, I think, pretty quick. So I'm grabbing, the next one I'm going to grab, and I'm not going to matter that I've got a lighter colour down. Won't matter on this because I'm going to blend them together anyway. So this is my Misty Moonlight over the same space. So I'm not going in the order I had intended to, but it won't matter. Love to be able to blend like that. Thank you. Everyone likes this, my layers. But to be honest, this is the bit that I'm doing now is just laying down a colour to make it work, because I did want a fair bit of blue and I want to blend it a little bit up here. And you'll see what happens, because when I do my first round of blending, it doesn't really look that special. Where's my sample? I've put it somewhere. Now, so I've got Daffodil Delight on my next one. Now, basically these colours, I've got to clean that up. I certainly don't want the blue running on it now. The cleaning cloth works great. And for anyone who thinks I haven't cleaned my fingers sometime today, I truly have. I've washed them so many times. So I'm just getting rid of the really strong colour and blending it nice and gently on. Now, where I put we all know this, where I put the yellow and blue, it's going to turn a little green. And remember that neither of these are going to be identical. No matter how many times I do this, it's always going to turn out a little different. I want a little bit of more yellow here. Taking it up just to blend it. Right, there we go. Now I may go back and grab my cleaning cloth again. Right, then I'm going to grab the cherry cobbler. Put it here, and you can see it's a really strong colour. So I'll spread it out so I don't get the really ugly stuff, nice and light. It's kind of like a highlighter, this one. I'm going to throw a little bit of red up here, which will pick up where those lighter, where it isn't like perfectly blended, which just gives you a little bit more. Now, I don't want a lot of red because it makes it too pretty. And I didn't want pretty. I really wanted a little grungy. Now it's looking pretty, so let's make it grungy. Sorry about the noise. So the grunge comes from the Cajun Craze. Got so many ink pads open here. So it's quite a strong colour, as you can see as well. This is where the grunge, where it goes, where's my card, goes from pretty to this colour here. So it was just the adding of the Cajun Craze, but I didn't want it to be looking dirty. Just wanted to spread it out. And I put a fair bit of Cajun Craze on this to get it to stop looking so pretty. Remember, I want to press nice and lightly. I want to try and get rid of as much pink as I can. And I want to put some more up here. So it leaves that blue there. Now, I've got to say, I need a bit more blue, don't I? So let's clean that off and add some blue. So I haven't done it like an ombre, you know, all different colours down. I went forward and back to a couple of different colours. So let's do the Misty Moonlight, which is, I'm going to get rid of those. Let's just do a last bit of Misty Moonlight. Now, I could have lined these up, but I know what I'm like. I put, oops, I will put ink everywhere. And you've already seen me with the black. So nice and light. I'm just adding a little bit of blue. Now, it's turned out completely different than the other one. Let's see if I can get a bit more colour on it. And then, to be honest, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Got a little bit too much colour. I've actually got a choice by how I'm choosing to make this card that I won't use all the panels anyway. But this way I can select a little bit. So I'm just about finished. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Right, so it looks a little different than the first one because I went a little faster. Right, I've got to do a little bit more. Just bring this down a little bit. That will do. Now I'm going to close these up. Now, I'm going to cut this panel. I need that one again. I'm going to be cutting this panel. It's already cut at 5 3/8, so I'm going to be cutting it at 1 3/8. 1 3/8. And then I'm also going to do, I've just got a little mark there, I'll get rid of it. I'll also do this at 1 1/8. And I'll show you what happens to those pieces. Right. Now, get rid of that. I think I've lost my plastic bag with all the pieces in it, which I'm not that happy about. But let's see how we go. So here's my card, and I've got this piece. I think is the piece that I'm going to be using. See, once I add it to my Misty Moonlight, it looks good. When it's separate, yeah, it doesn't look that good. But let's go and add the stamping. So I'll bring the card back so you can see what we're actually doing. So I want to, this is not a die cut, it's a stamp. And I know. So I've done it in Early Espresso, which I've just got to find on my desk. If I can't find Early Espresso, I'm going to have to... Oh, here it is. All right. So this one's got a little bit more colour, but you never get them the same. Add more colour, spend more time blending, and you'll get deeper, darker colours. This one's a little muted, so all I'm doing is adding my pot here. So my pot is sitting fairly close to the bottom. I can already see I'm going to have a disaster here. Cleaning cloth is amazing. I don't. So with that pot, you can actually see through to the background. I kind of feel like I want to add more colour, but let's not. You get the drift of how we're doing this. I'm going to grab some of this low tack tape, just a little piece, and I'm going to put it to protect the pot. And again, I'm going to drop it just a little lower than the level of the pot. I'll just show you what I mean. You can just see the line of the pot. So I've dropped it a little lower because when you stamp this, it's going to have that little ridge of the low tack paper. And I want it to join exactly, well, I had hard work for that, didn't I? I don't use Cajun Craze, and in fact, I can say I probably use Cajun Craze twice in a year. And it's never for Halloween. So I'm using one of the stamps from Earthen Textures, stamping it up. This is just going to be a background stamp. Does nothing other than provide a little few layers on something that has no layers other than stamping. So you can see my masking tape has protected the pot. Now my next stamp is going to be this gorgeous one that I'm hiding here. So it's, I don't know which is, it's this one here. I'm doing that in Cherry Cobbler, which makes it pop a little bit. I've got ink all over my hands. This is why my hands look like they do. I should show you the first technique I did. I was trying to use a water technique on the background. Holy moly, did I make a mess, and I decided none of us needed to see that. Okay, grab just some scrap paper under here, just so I don't have to clean my glass mat again. Just Now you do this twice at different levels. Oh, no. So take that away. Now I'll pick that up. Now let's get going. Let's make this card. I've actually lost a piece here. Well, let's go. So I know this is going to be my piece that I'm sticking that onto. Grabbing some adhesive. Just see. And Madeline's just said that this makes a great masculine card. And that's actually why I did it, because I don't make many masculine cards. So it's completely different shading, but it still works. Now, I also did 2 embossed pieces. This time I used Time Worn, which is also retiring. Have you got the idea? Except I've cut these at the wrong size. So these are 1 3/8. This panel is 1 3/8 wide. These panels are 1 3/8 wide, but they're 5 3/8 long. And there we go. So what's happened here? Oh, they are the right size. This one's just a smidgen long, and I want them to line up. Not that you can hardly see them, to be honest. Whoa. My blade needs changing. Been getting a bit of work out lately. I'll fix that later. Alright, let's go. So I'm picking which side of the embossing folder I want. I've got to find a piece of my cardstock here. So I'll lay down the embossed piece here. Line up my edges. Same here. Oh, not there. Righto. See, it's so much easier when you do all of this before you close it. Now I've got a little happy birthday already done somewhere. Here it is. Now, it doesn't match, does it? Oh, it'll have to do. Because I don't want to die cut at the moment. It takes too long. So I'm going to, that's the sentiment. I will actually use this spare piece and probably redo that so that it matches here. But I'll picture that's how that would go on. Then I'm going to, so I've got to find my skinny piece of, here it is. So I want this to be in exactly the same direction, and I'm going to place this here. So this is the 1 1/8 width wide one. I'll also drop this piece in the ink pad too. It does happen when you have so much out. And there we go. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, actually. I'm going to pick that up. I've got a piece here. Now, this is an extra piece to the previous design. This is 3 inches by 5 3/8, and you'll understand why I picked that up. I'm going to have to put that down first. All I need it to do is to go from there to there. And you don't see it because you're placing other pieces on it, but it adds that white piece. So all I have to do is get it like that. Then this piece that I was about to put down, I'll reapply some glue to. That just finishes it off. And it's kind of that optical illusion that it looks like I have just, which I could have done, coloured the very edge of that piece. Now I could have done that with some masking. Again, I'm going to be closing this around, so fold 2 panels over, so like that. Add the adhesive. I might be running out of glue. And if anyone is cheeky and said that's because you use so much, I won't talk to you again. So all I'm going to do again, now there's a little gap there. That's how it's designed. You're going to close this over, grab your bone folder, and there you go. So remember, it will have a matching, that one doesn't match real well, but I'll redo that, but you'll see the happy birthday sitting like that. So all I would do is add my dimensionals fair way in, because this is going to overhang. So you'd only be putting them there and there. Now on this one, I have this die cut. I'm hoping you can see that. And I shaded it because white looked terrible. Now, to be honest, and I always like, well, I don't necessarily like sharing with you, but I'd forgotten that there was a little jump down from here. Because remember, I have I have white cardstock, and then I've got this shaded cardstock on top. So there's a jump down. So when I stamp, it didn't go even. So I had a bit of a white space here. I just lucky had this from some of my previous projects today, so I could hide it. But today I'm going to learn my lesson and just keep to this piece here. So I need some more masking tape just in case, so that doesn't happen. I'm using some cherry cobbler again, which that cherry cobbler turns very, doesn't have brightness to it in this project. So I'm just putting this, I don't know, something like that. I'll see what that looks like. I haven't tried that. Right, there we go. And it's turned out quite well. So it's tied together. I've got a bit of crap on my thing. Rightio, so you can see when you shade, it does turn out differently, especially when you're in a bit of rush. But so there's those 2 cards. So thank you for answering that question, Sharon. Appreciate that. I'll bring back my projects. So I don't even know which one of these. Can't tell. But anyway, so these are the projects. Well, they're the projects we've made tonight. And these are, I don't know what I'm doing here, shuffling. And as you see, they fold down, so they're perfect for postage. And it's really easy. It's not like you have to send instructions for these. Everybody will know, because once you put it in an envelope, it will actually pop back up and it stands really, really well. So I think they look great closed, but once they pop up, they'll sit somewhere in your house. I'm just thinking of a mantelpiece, but I don't even have a mantelpiece. I don't know why a mantelpiece is popping into my head, but on like the buffet or somewhere where I put my birthday, Christmas cards, etc. So which one do you like? So I have card 1, which is the one using the Dainty Delight, where I've just stamped very simply, added some embossed layers, and I used some blending brushes, stamping blends to add some colour. I've got the Designer Series paper here. I've added a circle, and it's really simple. This is probably easy, casual, and this would be what I would call stepped up with the shading. So which card do you like the most? Have a vote. Don't forget that I do draw the winner of the random card later tonight, and I always try and send the project that you've actually selected. So love the man. Card 3 is my favourite. Madeline 3, card 1. Oh, so nobody likes the simple one. See, I think that's I love the card, but it's probably not my favourite either. So I think the I think Dainty Delights are, well, I think they're both coming in. So if you're watching this on replay later tonight, let me know which one you like. And thank you very much for joining me tonight. If you've enjoyed this live stream, please let me know by liking my live and sharing it with your crafty friends. If you'd like to see more, subscribe to my Facebook page or also my YouTube channel. I'll just pop up. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be posting all the information tomorrow in relation to the upcoming last chance sale, and also which items are retiring. And that's always the sad news, but the exciting news is we have a fabulous, sorry, I'm looking for it, I don't even know where it is, fabulous new catalogue with a new set out that's I think you're going to really, really love. So much. All the new products are in there, and I've already got excited, and I've already ordered them as a pre-order because I'm a demonstrator and we get access to that. So thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Actually, a couple like card number 2. Geez, you're now confusing me. I think it's just about a tie across all 3. That's probably a pretty good thing. So thank you, Carmel, for joining us tonight. Have a fabulous week, and I will see you next week. I'm probably going to do that live tomorrow or the next day. Don't forget, this Friday, I do a joint live with Christine Josty from Boston, where we're going to, this is going to be a challenge for us, for probably both of us and probably for most people who watch, is we're going to be doing basically keeping it simple project and then one stepped up. So let's see how we go at keeping it simple, because as you have guessed, if you've been following me for a while, I'm not good at keeping it simple. So thank you, Marianne, for joining us tonight, and thank you for your congratulations. I really appreciate that. Bye for now. Have a great week.